Well, good evening, everybody. We'll wait a couple more minutes, get some more people on here. Hope everybody's having a good night. Hey, Jen, Callie, Brian. Got some new information for everybody. And we'll wait. Let's get some more people on here. Not a whole lot of change in the Pacific. A little bit. We'll talk about it. But pretty much what I expected 95L to do last night. Looked like that's going to turn out to be. So let's go ahead and get started. We swap scenes here. And this is the latest forecast, 5-day forecast for the Atlantic Ocean. And as you can see, we still got 95L. Hasn't made it very far. It's still fighting wind shear. Hey, Southpaw. And notice they changed where the cone's at now. So for people along the east coast of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, even North Carolina is going to be affected. Now it's still only got a 10% chance. So most likely you're just going to get a lot of rain, some tropical rain and some flooding. So don't expect too much out of this thing. Now this baby over here, they have now given us a 70% chance of forming into some sort of a tropical cyclone. And I've been watching this for about 4 or 5 days now, and I've had some pretty good hopes for this one, and so far it's turning out. Now it looks really ragged. Let me show you on visible satellite. I think I still got enough daylight. Nope. So let's do infrared. Now down here, this is 95L. What's left of it. Really ragged. And it's still fighting some wind shear. Now this has kind of been remnants of it. I really don't think that's a separate tropical wave. But this one right here, this is the one that's got 70%. Now it doesn't look like much. Yeah, this should be 96L. I haven't seen them give it a designation yet. Still just called a disturbance. They will be investigating this pretty closely. But it looks pretty ragged, right? Now remember last night I was talking about sometimes it's hard to see where the center, but you could tell there's circulation by these bands just by looking at satellite. See all these different bands. So just by guessing, I would say the center is somewhere in there. Okay? Let's take a look. Now it'll flicker while it's loading up the satellite frames. But we'll put it in motion and see if that's where the circulation is. And sure enough, that circulation is right where I said it was. You see these clouds on the east side of it, or the right side, going up, and these are coming down. Hey, Spirit. Thanks for joining me. Now, let me stop this here. And you may ask, why is it so ugly? And why is all the storms over on this side, on the left side? I want to show you. Bring up my web page. Let's look at the ocean temperatures. Now these darker colors, that's your warmer waters. So right now, this thing is in some cooler waters. Now, it's about right in here right now, something like that. So these are lighter colors. So it's in cooler waters. That's the reason why the forecast cone is going to be over in here. So that's a lot warmer water. And they love warm water. And on the left side of it, or the west side, is starting to move in and get some fuel from these warmer waters. So that's the reason why the storms are blowing up on the west side. But it's got some really good spin, a lot better spin than 95L did. So as it moves in to these warmer waters, that's the reason why they have the forecast cone way over here, approaching the Lesser Antilles Islands. That's the reason why the cone's that far away from where it's at, because you got your cooler waters in this area. Then you start to see the warmer waters all around in this area. So once it hits those warmer waters, this thing's going to blow up. Now, as far as wind shear, I know it's hard for y'all to see on here. Let me stop this. Go to the last frame. And blow it up. Again, here's Florida. Here's Puerto Rico. Now 95L, it's right here where these brighter colors is. So it's still getting sheared. It's probably down around in here, but still you got wind shear behind it and in front of it. And you got this cold front that's going to be stretching about right there. That's going to hinder it also. Now there is some wind shear here in this area, but this storm is out here, and it's going to curve up and kind of go around where that wind shear area is. So that's what's in the news. Yeah, they still just got this as a disturbance. Moving westward at about 15 miles per hour. And notice, here's another tropical wave. And it's pretty strong. But it's going to do like this one did as it hits these cooler waters. It's going to kind of die out a little bit. It really doesn't have, it's got some rotation in it where that gray area is, but not well defined, not yet. Then if you look back over Africa, here's another wave that's going to be coming out. So it's the Atlantic is really starting to get active. There, I zoomed out so you can see all of it. Man, you could really see the spin in this one. That's got the 70%. Whole lot better form than 95L. Now I have been watching the radar. This is Puerto Rico, and you can see they still got a bunch of rain down there. All part of 95L. You can even see on the East Coast, excuse me, do have flash flood warning here. Yeah, I've got a couple of chasers out in Arizona. I got Nicholas Cook and Carrie Meltzer is out getting video. Monsoon season is a little late this year. Um, it kind of can start at the last of June, and but really starts ramping up in July. But it didn't really start ramping up until here at at the end of July. Let's go back here to Arizona. Look how these storms in Arizona are moving north. And the typical monsoons. Oops, I forgot to change screens. Sorry about that. Been a long day for me. You could really see the clockwise motion. That's a high pressure system, and it's probably going to be somewhere over in here. You can see on the upper right how the storms are coming south, and on the west side or the left is going north. So that high pressure system is about right in there somewhere, and it's circulating around. Now for us here in the east, you got just the opposite. Let me put water vapor on. Now here in the east, let it load up. We've got a low up in here. And remember, the high is back over here. So you could really see with water vapor mode how the pressure system affects the atmosphere. I'm kind of in a trough right now. We're out west. Where that high pressure is, that's your ridge. And you can see here's another low spin down here. That's interesting. So let's go ahead and talk about the Pacific. Not a whole lot of change, just a little. Yeah, spin in the Gulf. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, wasn't it? Let me go back to that. Look at that spin. That's pretty crazy. Now, 95L is going to be coming up over here on the right. So this low pressure spin right here is going to affect it. And then as I zoom out, you can get an idea where that cold front is. It's all along where the storms are firing up. And that's going to drape on down. And as that pushes southeast, that will affect 95L. And that's what's going to kind of kill it. That front will absorb it. And it is a cold front. I mean, Florida's still going to get a lot of rain out of this. Okay. There's your infrared. So let's talk the Pacific. Now I'll stop this motion. And we got to go to Go 17. Now notice here in the center, there's another tropical wave. And Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on that. This one here, this is Flossie. Not all that strong. Now, last night when I broadcast, this is Eric. It was really looking sweet. To get rid of the NHC stuff here. And it had a well-defined eye on it. It doesn't right now. It is Category 3, where last night it was a Cat 4. But you can really see how this thing extends out. Now up here in the upper left, that's Hawaii. So the current models has got this going south. And it is going to drop down to either a Cat 1 or just under that. Now, I don't think it's recycling, Jen. What's happening, it's starting to move into a little bit cooler water. Now, usually for Hawaii, this time of year, the waters are more stable and cooler, but this is El Nino. So there is some warmer waters. Now, what we got to keep an eye on with Flossie, back here, if it keeps tracking the way these dots show it, it could run in. It's running right along the edge of the cooler waters. The cooler waters stretch like right along its path. If it ventures south, it'll be warmer waters and it will intensify. If it stays north, not so much. They kind of use themselves up. The question is, why do strong hurricanes go through a cycle of getting a new eye from time to time? They use themselves up, and how can I explain it? Oh shucks, brain fart. But it'll start getting a second eye wall. It'll start getting a second eye wall around it. And then that starts tightening it up. And it'll go through what they call an eye wall replacement. Then that's when it'll intensify again. But the center kind of, it uses itself up, and this secondary eye wall kind of starts taking over. And then as it draws in and takes over, then she'll spark back up again. So far, Eric's not doing that. And I think it's because of the waters that it's in right now. And as you can see on the National Hurricane symbols. They've got it dropping down to a Cat 2, then a Cat 1, either a tropical storm or a low end Cat 1. All right, Big D, thanks for joining me. We'll catch you on the next one. But the big island of Hawaii is, yeah, Michael did that. Barry didn't get a chance to. Sandy did it. All your big ones, if they have enough time, they will recycle like that. But even though this is going to track, I'm talking about Eric, south of Hawaii, remember what I was saying last night, that the strongest part of a hurricane is this quadrant right here as it's going west. If it's going north, then it's the northeast quadrant is always the strongest. So as this thing heads west or west-northwest, this area is really going to affect the southeast coast of the Big Island. It's still Cat 3. I think the winds are like 113, I do believe. It was 130 yesterday. Now, I haven't got a chance, even though I said last night, to look over the recon data because the hurricane hunters did fly out there today, but I didn't have a chance today. I've been had things going on. But they did go out there and investigate this. And so this is the latest information. They will be doing more recons. And then as Flossie gets closer, they'll start doing flights through it. Flossie's still struggling. You know, it's still a Cat 1. And it's slated to stay right around a low-end Cat 1 to tropical storm as it gets closer to Hawaii. But it does have its chance of hitting Hawaii. But it's going to stay on the weaker side because of that line of the cooler waters to the north and the warmer waters to the south. Let's see if I could just see that on... on the ocean stuff here. Okay, here's Hawaii. You can see we got some cooler water out this way, out in here, and a little bit warmer water. But if Flossie tracks right through there, it'll start getting affected by this cooler water up here. So if it goes north of that line, it's going to kind of die out. If it stays south of there, you know, it's got a chance. Not really very much warmer waters around Hawaii, but it's warmer than average. This, by the way, is from NOAA Coast Watch, where I'm getting this information. Now, the other night, I was talking about typically in July for hurricane season, and especially in a El Nino year, the best chance of formation is here in the Gulf. And there you can see why. A lot warmer waters in the Gulf than there is out in the oceans. Go back. Oh, I guess I didn't have the right screen up. I don't know why it was doing that. I'll go back here. I'll show you this again because you all didn't see what I was talking about. But here you can see in the Gulf, a lot warmer waters. That's the reason why in an El Nino year, this time of year, the best formation is in the Gulf or down here around Cuba, down in the Caribbean. And what I was talking about with Hawaii that y'all didn't get to see is okay. Flossie's kind of got a track like that. If it goes north of that line, that's cooler water. Okay, south of that line, it's a little bit warmer water. So that's what I was showing a little bit ago that y'all didn't get to see because I didn't click on something right. I'll blame it on my computer. They haven't updated these pages yet. Okay, right now they're showing 115 mile per hour winds. That was as of 11 o'clock this morning, Hawaii time. And it's moving west-northwest at about 14. Flossie, it's showing 70 mile per hour sustained wind. So that's actually no longer a hurricane. That is a tropical storm. Now, I haven't showed you all this for a while. And if you're kind of new, let me show you the scale for the categories. This is the Saffir-Simpson scale. And you can see at the bottom, Cat 1, 74 to 95 mile per hour winds. Cat 2, 96 to 110. Cat 3, 111 to 129. Cat 4 is 130 to 156, which yesterday Eric was at 130. So it was a Cat 4. And then Cat 5, 157 or higher. That's your category scale for hurricanes. No matter if it's in the East Pacific or the Atlantic, north of the equator, the scale works. Other areas, they call them typhoons or cyclones. Any questions? Y'all notice my new little logo on the bottom left? I'll be using that over on our TV channel. Yeah, Jen, I'm slowly learning how to make graphics. Yeah, there's been talk about, them coming up with a Cat 6 category. That's pretty much been thrown out. I don't think they need to. Once it gets to 157 miles per hour, you go up to 200. It's just so devastating that there's really no sense in it. It's hard enough trying to get people to understand 5 categories. You go adding a 6th one, it just starts complicating things. So I don't foresee that happening. Yeah, categories, yeah, they, in a sense, they can be deceiving. And I'll tell you what, and this is something that gets me, is People will say, well, it's only a Cat 1. I'm going to stay. I'm not going to leave. Well, it may be a Cat 1, and an hour later, it might be a Cat 2, Cat 3. They can intensify pretty quickly sometimes. But regardless of what category they are, people will ignore the other threats, especially that northeast quadrant that can have damaging winds, breeze spin up tornadoes. You've got, even with 74 mile per hour wind, that's a tropical storm. It's not even a Cat 1. But 74 mile per hour winds pushing the ocean in on shore on that northeast quadrant can be so devastating. Look at Hurricane Barry a few weeks ago. It only made it to Cat 1. But look at all the devastating flooding and damage that it did. And that's what a lot of people get stuck on categories. Well, it's only a Cat 1. Or it's only a tropical storm. I'm just going to stay in my house. Yeah, then you got to be rescued because of the flooding. And 74 mile per hour wind is nothing to sneeze at in itself. So they need to do something a little bit better. Get more people discussing it to the public to try to get them to understand. Yes, they are working on surge and talking more on that. Actually, there's that Now Coast website that I use, and that gives me a lot of information about surges so I can pass it along. And it's been over the last, Now Coast. It's been over the last couple years that they've really started discussing surges and stuff like that. Yeah, find Now Coast. It's nowcoast.noaa.gov. And there's a lot of things you could do with this. All kinds of things over on the right that you could turn off or on. Coastal waters, offshore waters, high seas areas. Oh, it's just got tons of stuff. It's really great. It's kind of slow, but it's really great. And I'll start using this as the tropical storms gets closer. Zoomed in too tight. Here we go. As this thing gets closer to Hawaii, then I'll start using this. It's a really great web page that they brought out 2 years ago. And this is when NOAA really, and the National Hurricane Center, really started talking more about flooding potential, surges. This thing will actually give you forecasts for the surge as well as the tides. You'll get to see it more in action when it gets closer. Very great website. nowcoast.noaa.gov. If anybody wants to check it out. And for those that don't use this page, this is from the National Hurricane Center. This is their website. Yeah, thanks, Jen. I didn't know if you was allowed to put links in or not. Anybody got any questions? Nah, I would have approved it. Yes, all these tools are available to everybody. The Now Coast, the National Hurricane Center, great information to have. Free to the public. If you want to see the National Hurricane Center, all you have to do is Google it. Well, thankfully, then, I was feeling pretty rough all day, so I didn't get to do a lot what I wanted to get done today. Now, soon, when this invest here gets closer, then I will be doing more reports during the day. I still hadn't create the emergency kit. Yeah, the season's a little late, but it's starting to wrap up. The peak isn't till September of the hurricane season, and it goes clear through November. So we're just starting to be on the ramp up, and it's right on time for all these tropical waves to come across. You still see one big one back over Africa yet, another one just off the coast. They are keeping an eye on that as well. This is our one that's got 70% chance of forming over here closer to the Lesser Antilles Islands. They're expecting it to form somewhere in that area where the warmer waters is. Hey, thanks, Jen, for the host. 95L is not going to do much, as I was saying earlier. Yeah, I don't know either. I got to get into our Stormview Live TV channel and set up some hosts in there. Yeah, I think it does too, because I think Sean, for some reason, is the only one in my host list now. Yeah, I'm having a lot of troubles with notifications. I never got a notification that Nathan went live tonight, but he was. He's talking about a possible chase in the panhandle of Nebraska and Colorado tomorrow. So, folks, stay tuned. I might be busy helping him out. And I'll still be bringing the hurricane and tropical weather forecast as well. If I have to, I'll just integrate it into my behind the scenes show, helping Nathan. Again, for all the new people that are watching, thanks for joining me. Yeah, I can't wait. Twitch is they've got it for partners. It's called Squad Mode. They're supposed to be bringing that out for affiliates. When they do, then when I'm helping a chaser, uh, we'll do squad mode together, and you just click on that, and it'll bring up both of us. But I have no idea when Twitch is going to add that to the affiliates. I'm only affiliated. I'm a long way from being partner. But for now, we just use a multi-stream. And if I'm helping Nathan tomorrow, I'll post the link in the chat for me and him, and that way you can watch both of us. It's really cool when people can do that because, they only need one monitor and they can watch both of us and get the chase and the behind the chase, or as I call it, behind the scenes. Yeah, see, I got a new follower. Thank you. So if there's not any questions, I know this is a rather short broadcast. 3 devices. Yeah, it kind of sounded like me. I've got 3 computers and 2 phones. I appreciate it, Brian. No problem, bud. Yeah, like I was saying the other night, I like to bring it down to where everybody can understand. The more people that understand this stuff, the safer they could be. A lot of these weather broadcast meteorologists, they kind of go over people's heads and don't bring it down for the regular person. When I taught in college, I did the same concept. Hey, Stormy. I had a professor in college, and it was really cool because he was so laid back, and he gave us a surprise test one day, and nobody was ready for it, so everybody's tense. Halfway through one of the questions, what's your favorite ice cream? And you could tell when everybody got halfway through the test because everybody started laughing. And he'd be leaning up against his desk, and he had a big belly. Had his hands on his belly, and he's twiddling his thumbs. And it was so funny. So I picked up that teaching technique, and so when I taught in college computer classes, that's the way I did things. And so I try to do it now too. Yeah, I did a lot of programming in my early computer years. Wrote a lot of my own programs back before the internet. Yeah, monsoons is a totally different animal running radar for. Just like hurricanes is so much different to run radar than severe storms. I really miss Doc, Kerry Hutchins, not going out for monsoons. I helped him for a lot of years. Okay, folks, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. Stay tuned. About 8:15 Eastern time tomorrow, I'll bring more information. If there's any big changes, I'll do an earlier broadcast. So thanks everybody for joining me, and we'll catch you on the next one. Good night, all.